Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to another one. It's your main man, Coach Fa, doing a quick little Candid Corner Dolo joint for this NBA free agency extravaganza, if you will. So, without the furthest of ados, we are going to jump right on in and get this done. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Hercules. This is my favoriteest dog in the world, who he literally just dipped. But that's him, for those of you who have heard of him but have not seen him. Welcome to the Candid Corner. This is the show that talks smack about everything from sports to movies, to TV shows, to music, and we most definitely rap hip-hop right here. Your host, Coach Fa, Mr. Lewis, and MG the Great, bring it real straight to your face, baby. The Candid Corner. Yeah, y'all. Back in effect, back again. A lot going on. So, I got to break out my notepad and everything. I got it all out here for y'all, because there's a lot happened since yesterday, 6 p.m. So I figure, you know what? Let's just start with the top trades that happened after the draft. So far, of the trades that actually happened, we have the Hawks trading Danilo Gallinari to the Spurs for DeJounte Murray, giving Trae Young a backcourt mate that they say he desperately needs. I guess Herter just isn't it. So now they've got that. And John Collins is apparently still in the fold, even though his name comes up in trade rumors like every trade season. Yeah, I just find that really interesting. Big shouts to the family for hooking me up with this Dad's Father's Day Star Wars shirt jump off. Mad love. I love it. The Wizards trade for Will Barton and Monte Morris, and they trade to Denver Ish Smith and Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Again, these aren't major moves. Well, the DeJounte Murray one is kind of interesting. It gives them a new dynamic. I just don't know how far that dynamic takes the Hawks this year. Even though, for all the letdown that people claim the Knicks had, I think Atlanta's letdown was way bigger. You're talking about Eastern Conference Finals and to what you did this year. So, let's see. The Nets received Royce O'Neal and traded away a 2013 first-round pick. Okay. Yeah, y'all know why I'm laughing. But I'll get back to Brooklyn in a minute. Detroit. Thank you, Detroit, for taking Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel. We love you guys, and you guys worked hard for us, so we appreciate you being here. But thank you for becoming the Detroit Knicks. Because Kemba already there, even though they're doing the buyout. Kevin Knox, which is more news I'm going to get into in a few minutes, but he's over there now. So Detroit is really, really interesting as being a partner of ours that I didn't know we were partnering with. But, end of the day, it's all good as long as it positively affects the team. All right, so those were some of the top trades that happened in the last day or so. So that was cool. Still a lot going on. What I did not lean into just yet was Kevin Durant, because the day after Kyrie Irving opts into his 1 year, $36 million contract, KD opts out. And there's so many rumors and speculations about why, and is he tired of Kyrie, or is this their plan together to leave and go to another place? I mean, you can blame everybody here in the Nets organization. And this is not me being a Knicks fan. This is me being a basketball fan. And I'm not here to rain on parades and all that. That was a lot of fun on Twitter yesterday. But today I'm just, telling the real. Sean Marks, why in the world did you trade for Ben Simmons knowing he was hurt? You know that had to piss off KD that you got a guy who can't play. And you traded for that. You got rid of a guy who could play because he was mad. And you got a guy who can't play, who was also mad at his other franchise. I'm sorry. It just doesn't sound like that's the right way to handle and do business these days. It just doesn't. Then you got Kyrie, who, for lack of a better, kind of set the franchise on fire. Kind of did. And the worst part about it is, and again, I don't know the cat from Adam. I don't have conversations with him or anything like that. But it just, from afar, just really seems like, he didn't really care. It was like he cared more about his platform than what was going on with the team. And while I get that, some folk are cool with that, I don't think, well, firstly, it didn't work. And I don't think that mentality really is fitting when you're trying to win a championship. Because you don't bring these three guys together on your franchise to not win a champion. To go to the Eastern Conference Finals once and then get swept the following year out of the first round. That's not what they brought these guys here for. And if this is how it's ending, Brother Jay says, yuck. I'm sorry, man. That's just, yeesh. Bad look all around. Players, organization, and then you bring in you bring in Steve Nash, who was not a head coach prior, and then one of your star players says, "Oh yeah, we don't need coaches. We're all coaches," and then proceeds to undermine the coaching by having separate practices after the practices. Like, wow, bro. Anyway, it's not like this is the first time, Brooklyn has swung and missed at, trying to be a super team. And the worst part is they sacrificed being a good, solid team to reach for the stars. They had Kyle LeVert, D'Angelo Russell, Jared Allen, Joe Harris, had them dudes, Spencer Dinwiddie, and they were playing for the coach. They were playing for each other. And they were making some noise. And y'all blew all that up for this. Star chasing, to me, just doesn't always work. And it doesn't even always work for LeBron. And he's like the king of, forming like Voltron. This is his bag. And it doesn't even work for him. But out of everybody who's done these super teams, it literally only seems to work for him. So, listen, maybe they can get him to the Lakers, and there you go. But other than that, I really think this super team crap should be dead, shot in the face, buried, and left on the side of the road somewhere, never to be dredged up again. I can honestly say super teams do not work. They just hamper cap space and maneuverability of franchises. It's literally all it does from what I've seen so far. All right, we will be right back after this quick commercial break, and then we're going to start talking about the actual free agency moves.
Tune in after WrestleMania for a very special Everybody Loves Razor Ramon, where Grandma loses her women's title to the next door neighbor.
When Grandma loses her women's title to the next door neighbor. That episode was so crazy. It was so cray. All right, y'all. So I broke this down into the moving on deals and the staying home deals. So we're going to rapid fire this because, again, a lot has happened, and there's more happening today and probably throughout the weekend. Happy Independence Day for those who plan on celebrating this year. For those who feel like there's not enough to celebrate this year, I'm with you there too. So I'm just covering all the bases. Everybody, let's have a good time. So, Karl Anthony Towns, $224 million to stay with Minnesota for 4 years. Devin Booker got $224 for 4 years to stay with the Phoenix Suns. John Morant got $231 for 5 years to stay with Memphis. Nikola Jokic, $270 million, 5 years to stay with Denver. Where does Denver get all of this paper from? They gave $150 to Michael Porter Jr. last year. They gave him $270. Dude, maybe there's stuff going on in Denver we don't know about, but it sounds like they got a printing press. But good luck to them. James Harden. Okay, now James Harden has decided to stay with Philly. He was due $47 million. He opted out of that to restructure his contract to lay it out a bit differently over time. Now, he's not giving back money or anything like that or leaving money on the table. But out of respect due, what he is doing is making sure that his team has some cap space and some flexibility going forward. So he restructured his contract because at the end of the day, as we all know, when he left Houston, James Harden wanted to go to Philly. He didn't want to go to Brooklyn. He wanted to go to Philly, but the deal was for Brooklyn. So when that fell through and Kyrie stopped playing and James got offended at that and wanted out, he wanted to go to the team he originally wanted to go to. And when he got there, he was piss poor awful. Let's just call it what it was. He was awful. He did not help them at all. But now it looks like he's trying to. Apparently, the workout videos have started and him running up some stairs looking awful. He need to keep running up them stairs a whole lot more, get back in shape. But at least he's running and not eating wings and stripping or being in the strip clubs, popping bottles, spending $150K in one evening. Because we did see that receipt on Twitter. Yes, we did. Let's just keep that real. But it looks like he's kind of refocused and retooled. So, and this actually helped when I get to the moving on side of the conversation. You'll see where this has already helped. So I actually will give James props for restructuring his contract to help make his team better. Then we got Kyrie Irving, who opted into his $36 million one-year contract, which they're probably going to trade him this year. Moving on. Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal steadily gets that check, bruh. And no disrespect, but the Wizards barely make the playoffs, and he still keeps getting these big, giant checks. Now, at the same time, he keeps staying. He keeps stating that he wants to stay and do that, and he has. So I guess, honestly, I don't know if championship is on his mind as much, just being real. Same with Dame, because when you commit and stay committed for as long as you have, but the team, for whatever moves they make, it's just not there. I could still respect the fact that you want to stay. I can't. I have to admit, there's thousands of NBA players. Not everybody in the NBA, I believe, thinks they're going to win the championship, especially once they've been on the team for a while and they see the writing on the wall, or if they've been in the league for a while and haven't won one yet. So, yes, I believe that, the overall feeling is people want a championship, but I also feel like there's folk in the NBA that are content not having one. And honestly, for Bradley to keep signing these long-term deals with the Wizards, I kind of feel that way. And for such high money, it still does kind of strap them a little bit with moves they can make. But personally, one of the bigger mistakes they made, in my humble opinion, was getting rid of Russell Westbrook, even though it brought them, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and them. And now with the addition of Will Barton and Monte Morris, maybe that helps out a little bit. And I'm still not sure what they're going to do with Porzingis. But he's there and he's a viable center. And Rui Hachimura, man, I don't know where he is or what's going on with his development, but for somebody who we keep expecting to turn the page, that page just doesn't necessarily turn the way we want it to. It's just, it's just not doing it. So, we'll see. We'll see, Porzingis. We'll see. That $150 million that you got, I'm so glad the Knicks did not give you that money and Mark Cuban did. I'm so glad. So I'm in the middle of tweeting, reading tweets, and delivering to you guys the news. So this is what it is. Stay busy out here. Lou Dort got a hefty little bit of money, in my humble opinion. You know what I mean? He better be thanking them Lucky Charms. He's good and he's ascending, but 87 mil over 5 years. Okay. But it's still kind of like, really? Lou Dort? All right. Get your paper. Chris Boucher, 3 years, 35.25 to stay with Toronto. Gary Harris is staying with Orlando. $26 million 2-year deal. How many guards does Orlando need? Deshaun Tate, 3 years, $22.1 million to stay with Houston. Patty Mills, $9 million 2 years to stay with the defunct Brooklyn Nets, or dysfunctional, I should say. They're not defunct; they're just dysfunctional. But the funniest thing is, going back to that real quick, the Brooklyn Nets really don't have to do a daggone thing because everybody they need to be under contract is actually under contract. So they literally don't have to trade anybody. That's just a little caveat I want to throw back out there. Just to make sure y'all paying attention. All right. So now we got Nick Batum, king of the journeyman. $22 million 2 years. Bobby Portis opted out of his contract with the Bucks, but got re-signed by the Bucks, $49 million over 4 years. Good job by him. Anthony Simons, another point guard that got a little extra paper that I thought was necessary, but hey, I'm not the one doling out the money. It's not mine. $100 million for 4 years. $20 million a year for Anthony Simons. All right. Victor Oladipo is staying with Miami 1 more year, run it back, try to gamble on himself, $11 million. Dwayne Dedman, he's going back, $9 million 2 years. Ivica Zubac, $33 million over 3 years to stay with the Clippers. And I glazed over one because this was reported this morning that Zion Williamson will be offered his full max of $231 over 5 years. They are going to give a person who's played 92 games over 3 years $231 million. Man, I wish I took my jump shot more seriously back in the day. What are they doing? Really? For a guy who barely suits up for you, you just gotta lay it out there because it's due. Man, I wish. But hey, good luck to you. Sign your contract, get your money. He was like, of course I'm gonna sign this. Yeah, duh. Zion Williamson with that broke foot and heavy body is not going to let free money go. Y'all got to cut that out. Y'all thought he was. You know what I mean? And now that contract is kind of untradeable until he can actually show that he can not only get on the court, but stay on the court and actually be viable while doing so. Fingers crossed, peoples. Fingers crossed. I tell you that much. All right, when I come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the moving on deals. Dum-ba-da-dum. More Candid Corner. Right back at you.
Out now. Sears High-Waisters. Your pelvis will love them. Now with new armpit sweat pads. Want a stronger, more breathable, nut-huggier fabric? Sears high-waisted pants. Try them out today, only $19.99. You look good with your high-waisted tight pants on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. With your high waisters. Yes. All right, so we're back in effect, having a good time. Now, let's get on to these moving on deals. And some of these I'm very happy to announce. To include. We finally got our point guard of the future. He is now our point guard of now. Jalen Brunson is officially a New York Knick. 104 for 4 years, which is still better than 106 for 5 years that the Mavericks were offering. So welcome home, Jalen Brunson. And while we're welcoming folk home, let's welcome home Isaiah Hartenstein. 16 mil, 2 years to be a backup center to Mitchell Robinson, who now has 4 years, $60 million, coming back to NYC, coming back to our Knicks. You know how it go. We real excited about this. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm bugging. So this is what I'm talking about. John Morant got his 5-year extension. That's worth $231 million. And John Morant has been going off in the league the last couple of years. Zion Williamson, same money. Have they literally had the same career so far? Have they, ladies and gentlemen? Have they? I can definitely see why they're giving John Morant that money. I can see why. I can't see it yet with Zion. It's all hyperbole. It's all, well, one day he will, or we know he can, or he's such an incredible athlete that what? That he's played 92 games in 3 years? And you're going to give him $200 million for 5 more years. How many more games he going to play? 180 in that 5-year span? I mean, to me, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, that's like the Michael Porter Jr. thing. They gave him $150, knowing he had the back problems. And sure enough, as soon as he got paid, he was out for the year. Like, I get sometimes I get some of these moves where you got to make them and all that, but some of these moves, man, or some of the money for these moves, and they don't necessarily leave teams with many options. You know, I mean, again, I'm looking at John Wall. I'm looking at that contract. You know what I mean? He literally just got $40 million for nothing for being out a whole year. I mean, dude, man. The collective bargaining agreement meetings coming up are going to be wild and interesting. I know that. So you might want to put on your seatbelts for those. All right. So, and a really surprise move, because I actually thought Golden State was going to re-sign Gary Payton II, but apparently he got 24. No, yeah, he got 24 for 3 years. No, 28 for 3 years. Excuse me. So he's on his way out. 28 for 3 years with the Portland Trailblazers. Interesting. They got Gary Payton, Anthony Simons. Do y'all think something's gonna happen with Dame Lillard's contract and maybe a trade? Just wondering. Throwing it out there. Andre Drummond, $6.6 million for 2 years with the Bulls. JaVale McGee, $20.1 million for 3 years with the Cavs. Malik Monk, who was probably one of the few Lakers who actually played well last year, navigated himself into a $19 million 2-year contract with the Kings. DeLon Wright got 16 for 2 years with the Wizards. Kyle Anderson, 18 for 2 years with the T-Wolves. Kevin Knox, $6 million, 2 years with the Pistons. like I said, the Detroit Pistons. Again, now the Spurs got to be rebuilding like whoa, because they just let Lonnie Walker go and they let DeJounte Murray go. But he's getting 6.5 for 1 year with the Lakers. And on to the PJ Tucker conversation that I was saying about James Harden. PJ is getting 33.2, 3 years with the 76ers. And that is a really strong pickup for them. And last but not least, Joe Ingles, $6 million 1 year with the Bucks. And everybody seems happy. Everybody seems thrilled. I think there's one last piece that Shams just dropped in reference to one of the Holiday brothers. So let's see, where is that? Aaron Holiday has agreed to a 1 year deal with the Atlanta Hawks. Theo Pinson, Nick Favorite, is returning to the Dallas Mavericks on a 1 year deal. That's kind of awesome. I'm very happy for that kid. All right, so that's that as far as the moves made so far. Again, the free agency cycle literally just opened up, so there's definitely still some moves to be made. Ricky Rubio is out there. There's a few other free agents that are out there still that haven't really settled in a home, even though Ricky is probably going to re-sign with the Cavs, healed up from that ACL. And he really helped solidify them as a dangerous team going forward. So I think they're going to re-up there. But it's still a lot. There's still the Durant trade. There's still Nick questions. Are they going to trade Fournier? I really doubt they trade Randall, y'all. I really do. And I honestly think that might actually hinder more than a lot of these fans think it'll help. I think it'll actually hinder with the addition of Brunson. And, I mean, honestly, there's a reason why Julius Randle commanded double teams the last 2 years. I know y'all don't want to hear me saying that. I know. But, listen, you got to tell the truth sometime. There's a reason why, he wasn't effective in the double teams, but there's a reason why he was double teamed. Because the dude can get buckets one-on-one. And the hope is that, especially because in the offseason coming, RJ should be due his max as well. So we really need him to step up and show us that he can be that max player. And that'll take a lot off of Randall also. Again, I'm just looking at it where the flexibility actually comes from Fournier's contract. But to be honest, if he's coming off the bench, I don't necessarily mind Fournier on the team either. I mean, his 3-point shooting is not a fallacy. That's real. Those are quantified numbers. So just looking at that, there's moves that we can make, but do we really need to make them? And if we do make them, what are we making them for? If y'all talking about trading Randall, it better be for something. I don't want it. He is not worth no bag of peanuts and all that nonsense. So please stop letting the daggone NBA media fool y'all. Yes, he had a rough year last year. Yes, he did. That was last year. Okay. We got a better team this year. There was a lot of frustrating things that happened last year that really knocked us off our game. I mean, unfortunately, we talked about it, Danny and I and a whole bunch of people. We talked about it all last season. So no really need to rehash and all that. But I do feel the Knicks have definitely turned a page. And we were knocking on playing the way we played last year. And the year before, with Elfrid Payton at the helm, we made the playoffs. I think we'll be all right. And hold on. I gotta give a shout out to one of my homies on Twitter. You know what I mean? Well, actually, I gotta give a shout out to all of my homies on Twitter. For MJ's Lasagna and the Spicy Nurse. Feel better, Spicy Nurse. I hope everything is going well in your world. MJ's Lasagna in the lasagna thread. Yeah. Much love, much respect. All the folk following, I appreciate it. Adrian Wojnarowski just tweeted out that Danilo Gallinari his preference is to join the Boston Celtics once he clears waivers. So that should be very interesting going forward. Let's see what else. Yes, Miss Yankees fan. I think you'll like Brunson. I really do. The East is still hard though, guys. The East, I don't think the East got easier. I think the East is consistently going to be harder for the next few years. I can't tell you who is the number one outright team right now. I mean, again, with free agency and everything, there's still stuff in flux. So teams aren't necessarily set yet anyway. But I am going to enjoy going into this season because it's going to be challenging. Like, all the games are going to be challenging. Well, for the most part. There's some bum-ass teams out there that's not going to be challenging at all. But, I mean, Atlanta has retooled. The Knicks have retooled. Milwaukee, once Middleton comes back healthy, they're going to be strong. Boston is right there. Miami has some moves they need to make, but they should be right there as well. Pardon the noise of the phone in the background. Yeah, I'm live, so I'm not answering the phone right now. But listen, please hit me up with comments. Hit me on Twitter. Hit me on YouTube. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about future moves. Whatever else, anything else you want to chop up, let me know. Hit me up in my DM, and you never know, your question might be on the Candid Corner on the next episode. So again, y'all, thank y'all for hanging out with me. I hope y'all enjoyed this update, and we'll talk to y'all soon, man. Thanks for rocking with me as always. This has been the 2022 NBA Free Agency Fallout with your main man, Coach Fa. Yo, y'all take care. Please check out the Blurtification Station. We got a bunch of new shows up on that. Please check out the Vintage Cigar. My main man, Killian, is doing his thing. There's a lot happening, man. There's a lot going on the Indie Access Network, and I just really appreciate all y'all support. So y'all just take care. Have a great 4th of July, however you choose to celebrate, and I will get up. Until then, Coach Fa out.
Welcome to the Candid Corner. This is the show